SheQuest Podcast is the home of heart-opening dialogues, stories, and experiences for self-identified women on a SheQuest. Season 5 is now bilingual as I welcome co-host Nadia Bonenfant. Hey, Nadia!
Hey, Estelle. Delighted to be part of SheQuest Podcast. Forward movement to live aware, bold, and whole. Let's do this.
Woohoo! Hi, SheQuest. Welcome to SheQuest Podcast with guest. I'm your host, Estelle Thompson. And today on the show, we have such a sweet treat of a human being with us. Joanna Thurlow is the co-founder of Modo Yoga Studios in Halifax, Bedford, and St. John's, Newfoundland. She started baking sourdough bread in 2017, and after many failed attempts, she realized that what her bread making was missing was yoga. By applying the mindfulness techniques she regularly taught and practiced to her baking, she not only improved her loaves, but she saw the natural harmony between the ancient practices of both yoga and sourdough, and the concept of bread, and her yoga retreats were born. She owned her skill as the 2019 bread apprentice at the Old Apothecary Bakery and continues to nerd out on dough on the regular. Jo lives in Shibuktuk, Halifax with her husband and two sweet kiddos. And on a personal note, I want to mention just how embedded I am in Jo for giving me my first ever yoga teaching gig and believing in me when I didn't know my lefts from my rights. I don't know if I know my lefts from my right, but if I can think of like a pillar in my yoga teaching journey, she's really been a huge stepping stone for me. Jo, you're on the show. Hi.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Oh my
goodness. Saying all those nice things.
I love it. And just a side note, we've had so many like technical difficulties, and I was like, I'm not giving up. This is not happening. I'm just making this happen. And usually, you know what, like now that I think about it, like sometimes those conversations is like the ones that most need out.
It gave me like a chance to kind of warm up and like forget about like the nerves of doing this, you know. It's just like, oh, technical difficulties, story of my life, you know.
Yeah. Story of the past year at least. Anyways, here we are. And Jo, I always the first question I always ask my guests is, what makes you feel alive today?
Ooh, like after the last year, I kind of feel like we've just been in this like holding pattern, you know, of like waiting and trying to foolishly make plans and and continuously pivot and, you know, do all of these things as is our human nature. But it's really just been waiting, and now I feel like things are actually kind of starting. So this feeling of like new beginnings and new opportunities that's really firing me up right now.
I love that. It goes with the season as well. I love that you said foolishly waiting.
Well, you know, like we keep trying to like plan things and like control the situation. And I think if there's anything that like a global pandemic really drives home is that we have no control over any of this, right?
No, and I love, you know what, I love this concept of waiting. Seriously, like I feel there's lots of waiting that happens, like active waiting in the yoga practice. And maybe I know nothing about bread, by the way, so you'll have to educate me on that. You'll have to educate me.
Oh, bread is all waiting.
Really?
Bread is just, oh my God. Yeah, 99% waiting.
Amazing. Maybe that's the title of your show, Foolishly Waiting. Can you tell us just like about yourself, and maybe just more in the context of, you know, yoga and bread, obviously, but who you are like professionally, personally, and like where you grew up and where, like how you got where you got today. And here at SheQuest, we call this kind of my she story.
Okay, yeah. So I'm from Newfoundland, from Corner Brook on the West Coast. I mean, I think Newfoundlanders always call Newfoundland home, even though sadly I've lived away from Newfoundland longer than I live there at this point. So yeah, I mean, between graduating high school and going to university and then doing a bit of traveling, I started practicing yoga at what was then Moksha, now Modo Yoga in London, Ontario, while I was doing my master's. I kind of took it for granted that I was going to go into academia and continue on to do my PhD, but I went and did a yoga class and I got hooked, and so my life kind of went in that direction. And having done my undergrad at Dal, I always felt like from day one that Halifax would really, really respond well to a hot yoga studio. So as soon as I finished my master's, pretty much I started working on that goal, and we opened on Dresden Row in 2008. So it's been almost 13 years and been doing the yoga thing. And then in 2017, I've always been interested in food and less so in baking. Certainly now I'm really into baking, but 2017, a friend of mine gifted me a loaf of her sourdough and it was so good. And I was like, oh, it's delicious. Can you give me the recipe? Like not understanding any of the complexity of sourdough. And she was like, okay. So she like wrote out her technique and gave me some of her starter. Like I tried it and it was so bad. Like it was the worst bread that you can imagine. And I honestly feel like if I had tried it and it turned out well, it would have been like, oh, cool. That's just like another thing I can do from time to time. But because it was so bad, and I think it's my personality to be kind of stubborn. If I'm not good at something, I want to be good at it. So I kept at it.
Let's just backtrack at the fact that you've owned a business for 13 years, and not just in Halifax, by the way, in Bedford and St. John's and through this past year, 13 years, do you pat yourself on the back?
Yeah, it's wild. It's like, I feel like I started it when I was a kid, like I was 28 and now I'll be 41 soon. So that's like, you like grow a lot in that time, right? So it just feels like something that I've always done. And also like, yeah, I don't know. It's just such a part of my life at this point.
Yeah. And I'm just kind of going off tangent, but it's funny as we talk, I'm having these kind of visions, like knowing you from since maybe 2010, I've known you. And I remember, Joe, you would say in the staff meeting, that always marked me. You would say, like, this can go away anytime. Like this can go away anytime. And I was like, what is she talking about?
What was I talking about? I don't know.
So arrogant. I was like, I don't know what she's talking about. Like she has it so good. Like this will never, like people will love yoga, whatever. But like now, like it's so, it makes so much sense. Because it can, like think about like the status of like yoga studios now compared to like even just 5 years ago.
Oh, it's a totally different industry. Like it's totally changed, especially from when we started. But it's just a testament to the community and to people like you and the teachers and the students who've just supported us for so long. It's pretty wild. I get really I get overwhelmed when I think about it. I just feel very grateful.
So good. And then I love that moment, like having done so many of these interviews, women like you coming on the show and speaking of like their calling. And I love hearing that one moment, like your friend who gave you that loaf, and it was like the little spark,
Like I had no idea what I was getting into.
But it's like that for me is just wild. Like it's like that one bit of connection and then like everything changed.
Really? Yeah. It's such an interesting, you think about baking bread and then sourdough just has this like really long history and it's really complex. And I don't know, it appealed to me on so many levels. And also like, it felt like this thing I had to conquer, like I had to get it. I wasn't used to failing so miserably so many times at something, especially in the kitchen. Like I love to cook. I'm a decent cook. So it felt really foreign. So
do you feel that I almost see it as like merging to your academia and like that part of you that's like really following instructions and all that, something I've never really been good at. But I bet there's something very fulfilling about that,
Yeah, I have so many books about bread. I have read so much stuff about bread, all the technical stuff. Like I've never taken a chemistry course in my life, but I have a rudimentary understanding of the chemistry of bread making. But yeah, I think, that is kind of my personality, is to dive deep on something and really learn about it.
Yeah.
It was the same way, honestly, when I first started doing yoga, like my husband was my boyfriend at the time, would like look at me and be like, "What are you thinking about?" He could see that I was like off in my own world. And I'd be like, "Oh, prayer twist." Like I'd be thinking about like how to move your hips and like where to lift the spine. And like it's the same thing for me with bread making. Like I can think about it and read about it and learn about it all day.
Oh, I can say so much to that. Hashtag yoga geeks unite.
Yeah, totally.
How did you get to merge kind of like yoga and like bread making? Like, I don't know if I was like, I'm kind of new, like I'm not a baker at all. Like how do you see, because like I kind of see like I merge art and yoga, and a lot of people could say like, those don't really like, there's not really any parallel, but like I see, oh my God, like so much like art is yoga, yoga is art, all that stuff.
Mhm.
So can you like just elaborate on that more, like how yoga and bread kind of mesh together?
As I mentioned, I made a lot of bad bread. And I think, or, what I kind of realized that was like I was following the instructions so carefully, like in terms of time and temperature, and like I made Excel spreadsheets about bread and like took detailed notes, and like I kept failing, and I didn't know what was going on. It was so frustrating because I really was like, doing all of the things correctly. And then one day I was dealing with a super sticky dough, which, in hindsight, I realize it's because this formula, this recipe was written by a guy in California who, probably doesn't have 100% relative humidity where he's from. And it's probably a lot warmer and all of these things. So I was dealing with a super sticky dough. I was following the instructions too closely and I wasn't paying attention to what was in front of me. So the sticky dough was frustrating me, and I did what I do when I'm dealing with frustration, which is I pause, I put my hands on the counter, I stood up straight, I softened my jaw on my belly, I took some deep breaths, and then I was like, "Oh, wait a second. Like, what does this dough need right now? Like, forget what the instructions say. What is in front of me? What does it need? How do I respond?" Which is, exactly what you do in a yoga practice. Like if you're in a pose and you've done the pose many times and you have an expectation of how you're supposed to do it or how it's supposed to feel, and it's not doing that for you, you adjust, right? You adjust in the moment. So it occurred to me in that moment, like you said in my bio, like what was missing from my bread making was yoga, was this awareness of what was actually happening in the present moment. So from there, that's when I started to kind of merge the two, and like, dealing with the dough, like really feeling it, how it feels in my hands, giving it a lot more sensory attention, like really looking at it, observing it, smelling it, tasting it, observing physical sensations. Like if I'm kneading bread for a long time, like instead of being like, "Oh, my arms are so tired," because, bread making can be hard work, instead of looking at it that way, just being like, "Oh, it's just sensation on my arms," and then breathing through that. So it's actually like, you said, people don't like people can't see how art and yoga are so tied. To me, it's the same with sourdough baking. It's like the two things are interchangeable to me.
I love that so much as like a conversation with your bread.
Totally. And and that's the thing. Like if you take a yoga book, I remember having the same experience when I first started doing yoga. I bought Iyengar's book, Light on Yoga, which is an incredible book, but he's so prescriptive about like, step your feet 36.5 inches apart, and, angle your right foot at a 49-degree angle. Like it's very, very exact. And Iyengar was like a small barrel chested Indian man, and I'm a 6 foot tall, Canadian woman. So my body is going to be different than his. And so in trying to follow his instructions, I was like, why, this doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel right. So it's kind of like taking the instructions and then making them your own.
I mean, you consider bread making an art then.
That's another thing, that's another similarity that it has with yoga for me. And something that I really, really love about both practices is that they really straddle that line between art and science. Like I said, bread is chemistry, like it's pure chemistry, but there really is something artful about it. And yoga, I mean, so much of the wisdom and knowledge that the yogis knew thousands of years ago has been backed up by science, but it's still an expression and an art when you practice. So yeah, it's both. And I love that.
When we come to your retreat, like, tell us a bit what goes on in your retreat.
What happens at the bread retreat stays at the bread retreat. Yeah, so I've been hosting them at Windhorse Farms, which is just the perfect location. And we do some yoga. We have a couple of yoga we have one yoga class a day. We start the sourdough process. Everybody gets their own starter, and I kind of talk through the whole process, but every step along the way in terms of anytime you're dealing with the dough or whatever, we take a moment, we smell it, we observe it. We do a silent kneading, which is really interesting, where, people just breathe. And we also go into some techniques, mindfulness techniques. We do some pranayama, some breathing exercises. We do some meditation, just to kind of really tie the two things together.
I love that question. That I wrote it down. Actually, it gave me shivered when you said, like, what do I need right now? You said it to the bread, but you could have as well, like, and just describing what you described, like, smelling the bread and like touching the bread. And I mean, that's just awareness, just like developing like more attention and almost like being generous to your bread and like what you're making. Like, does that make sense? Like when I speak like that?
Totally. From one yoga teacher to another, yes,
Yeah.
it makes sense. Totally. And I think, what does it need right now is just, I listened to a talk with Ted Grand, one of the founders of Modo Yoga, the other day, and he was saying that he defines mindfulness as dealing with what's in front of you. And I just love that. And, I try to bring that to so many aspects of my life. And so, it just ties in really beautifully with bread baking.
Yeah. And I love something I can so relate with is this aspect of like, I love that you open, you're like, I messed up so many times. Like I'm terrible. Like, I love that about you. Like, it's something I'm always like, to get good at something, at anything, it's like, you need to mess up a lot. Like,
100%. We ate so much bad bread. My poor husband, he was such a sport about it, but like, it got to the point where he wasn't excited when he saw me baking. He was like, "Oh, more bread."
Tell me, for somebody who doesn't bake, do you need a bread maker or you can just have an oven?
Yeah, no, you don't need a bread maker. I mean, bread makers are, I think, another thing about, another parallel between yoga and bread making is, to me, accessibility. And bread making, I think, can be really inaccessible. And that, there's these people, there's these like, purists that are like, you have to make your own starter and you must do it by hand. And, like, I'm like, whatever gets bread on the table. If it's a bread machine, if it's a mixer, if it's just your hands, whatever it is, you can make bread. Truly, all you need to make bread is water, flour, salt, and heat. And that's it. Oh, and starter. But that's just water and flour. So
Wow. You're like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, you're really widening my lens. I was like, oh my goodness, there's a bread community out there.
Oh my gosh, there's a bread community. Yeah.
There's
a huge bread community.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm totally flabbergasted. Of course there is. And so where do you fall on, like, are you a purist or are you middle? Like, where are you in the whole?
Yeah, no, I'm like, make bread. And even in my retreats, I say, like, this is the technique I'm going to teach you. This is not the right way. Like, there are thousands of other techniques. Bread making is like, humans have been eating bread as long as, making bread as long as we've been around, basically, in some form. And there's bread in pretty much every culture, right? So the way that I teach to make bread is not the right way. It's just a way. So to me, I feel like there is no way to be a purist. Like, I mean, people try. There's definitely like gatekeepers of the sourdough community who are like, you must do it this way. And I'm like, whatever, make what gives you joy and what you like to eat. And
I'm seeing all these connections now, like, but like, I feel like I'm not sorry, just talking to myself, but there's almost like an emotional connection to bread.
oh, absolutely. I mean, some of my earliest memories like are eating my grandmother's bread, like that's the smell of it cooking or baking, and getting up early with my grandfather to eat bread and drink tea, which I was way too young to be drinking tea, but there it is. And um, so, yeah, I mean, bread it's a huge part of every culture and all of our lives.
And what's the feedback, like, your students after the retreat? Like, what do you think it's like the biggest takeaway? I'm sure there's like so many, but one that you hear often.
I mean, a lot of people have told me just how much, they just need that moment of self-care and, that feeling of learning something new. I think humans just really flourish when we learn something new. And I've developed the technique for, this particular way of baking bread to be, I mean, not foolproof. I want to touch wood when I say that, but so far everybody has walked away with a good loaf of bread. And there's something really, you feel really proud of yourself when you do that, right? And I think, on that note, the most satisfying thing was like I had my first spread retreat at the end of February in 2020. And 2 weeks later, the world shut down for the pandemic. So many of my students from that like really dove into their bread baking, and to this day are still producing these beautiful loaves and like tagging me in their Instagram posts, and have told me like how valuable it was for them to have that thing to focus on during the pandemic. And yeah, that's really beautiful to me. That feels really worthwhile.
I'm so excited to introduce Estelle Thompson. Yes, that's me. Online art and yoga studio, a place to engage, explore, transform, and most importantly, play to free your unique expression of soul. With the coupon Studio 20, try 1 month of studio features with 20% off. Again, that's Studio 20, STUDIO 20. You're welcome. Now back to our electrifying guests and conversation. Whilst we're talking about the past year, it has, I'm just curious, as your cooking kind of flourished, or were you feeling like how is it, and I feel, because I've heard that how like, wasn't it at the beginning, like everybody was like, there was no more flour at the supermarket, and like, butter was all gone, all this stuff, along with toilet paper, but that had nothing to do with our conversation. But
yeah, I mean, well, I'm, how do I explain myself? Just, a little bit anxious. I'm a little bit of an anxious person. So when all this talk of the pandemic started, I actually went to Costco and bought like 35 kilos of flour. So I was all set. And I actually feel, I really feel like my cooking and my baking have really come a long way. Just, having to make do with ingredients. Like when I eventually did, run out of rye flour, for example, I'd be like, okay, well, I have spelt, so I'm going to use spelt, and I have to learn how to deal with spelt. And, just with with food in general, I became a lot less wasteful, learned how to kind of make the most of ingredients and stretch them out and make substitutions. And yeah, it's been really good that way.
So cool. And what's your next retreat?
My next retreat is November 19th to 21st at Windhorse Farms in New Germany.
And just switching gear a little, I love on the show here to talk about kind of our relationship with soul. And I mean, you've talked to us about your relationship kind of with breath and with your yoga practice. But the question I have for you is, do you think like your practice, both yoga and breath, has helped like your relationship with others, you think?
I think, I think when you allow yourself to be yourself, that helps your relationship with others. And I think in pursuing, not just the retreat, but also just allowing myself the time to learn these things, that I did have a moment where I was like, I should be working. I should be, doing stuff for my business or spending more time with my kids or whatever, like that weird guilt that we always get. And, it felt a bit selfish to kind of be pursuing this when, it's really not, I guess, important at the end of the day, but it did feel important to me. And I think that when you take that time, to pursue your passion projects and be yourself, that does help your relationships with other people.
Yeah, 100%. I believe that too. And tell us, do you have a favorite personal tool kind of for self-growth?
I mean, I think probably my most effective tool for self-growth does, come from yoga and meditation. And it's just in that, just in, self-awareness. Mm-hmm. And it is not always pretty. Really looking at how you react and respond and behave and what your patterns are, it can be really hard. And sometimes you feel like a real asshole, but if you're willing to take that hard look, I think that's where growth comes.
Yeah. And there's something that always comes back from you when I talk to you. It's like you messed up all these lows and you kept up with it. Like just, you could have been like, fuck this, just not doing another breath load ever in my life, you just kept at it. I'm not sure if partly your stubbornness or what, but there's really something to be said about and I can really see that in yoga as well, the stamina and endurance. And I mean, we both love hot yoga so much, but there's something there's a point in the hot room, always you're like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Yeah.
Why did I choose this today? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it is my personality, and I do feel like when somebody's like, oh, I tried sourdough and it was terrible and I threw out my starter, I want to be like, no, keep trying. But it was really fulfilling for me. It was a really fulfilling, process for me, but maybe it's not for somebody else. Maybe they don't care that much, or it's just not their personality. So, I definitely would say, if you're interested, keep trying it. Don't let it defeat you. But it's, maybe it's not for everyone. Same with hot yoga. I totally get it. I think hot yoga is really its own thing, and I love it. And I would encourage people to give it more than one try, to stay a bit open about it. But if it's not working for you, it's not working for you. There's other ways, right?
Yeah. Oh, I feel the same with art. I felt, no, it's a tragedy. Try it again. but then at the same time, I'm like, well, it's okay. If it's not their thing, it's not their thing. I'm not, I'm not the boss of you. It's exact. And that's the thing. I think when something has been so fulfilling, you're so passionate about it. Just like you, I have thousands of books on creativity, knowing the ins and out and the psychology of it too, really interests me. And when you go into that and you're like, oh, but it can be this, it's such a personal journey, both in terms of practice and personal development too. I love that you brought the asshole,
Oh, she's in there.
Yeah, and it's like to love her, like to love your inner asshole, right? I think have you read the book On Being by Jen Pastiloff?
No.
Oh my God, Joe. She calls it the IA, the inner asshole.
That is amazing. Well, it's in all of us. My kids always say that grown-ups are just kids in big bodies. And it's a funny thing that they say regularly. And it's so true. And it's actually like as a parent, when my kids are being assholes, I'm like, oh, they're just like tired or hungry. And I'm also an asshole when I'm tired and hungry. I just have slightly better coping mechanisms, you know? So I think that yeah, that IA is within us all.
I think so. And like, I just love you talked about this is something I find is missing. It's like, and actually, our teacher, Jess Robinson, I remember her talking to me about that like 10 years ago, like the feedback loop that happens when your attention is on something that relationship, like almost like talking to the bread and the bread talking back, letting the bread talk back to you.
Mhm.
It sounds so like, but it's like if you do the same with nature, you do the same with like for me, a painting as a life of its own, and we allow like it's easy for us to give to that thing, but we never take time to like hear what it needs,
Do you feel with painting, like, do you feel like how much control do you need to have when you're painting?
like it's the same. Like I feel like I'm not in control sometimes.
Mm,
Like, and I'm not sure if the same way with bread, but it's like when I make like sometimes I look at paintings, I'm like, did I really make that? Like,
right.
it's almost like not like I know it's me who made it, but it's like, is it really me? Or I've like totally there's a part that's like relentless and like you're obsessed about all the details in it. And then there's another part that's like a complete like surrender and just letting go, like doing its good work, letting it do its good work or something.
So do you start with a plan and then just kind of let it go, or do you just like put
Yeah,
a
I usually start with I do have a plan, but a lot of times it doesn't end up the way
yeah.
I want it. But like so a lot of almost all the times my mistakes have been breakthroughs in a way, like they just make me like kind of go like further kind of into my practice, and and I find that with as you were speaking about bread, like there's the thing like just an acceptance about it, like, oh, this one is good, this one's not good, oh, this one is so good, and then like, oh shit, this one, no. And I thought I had it, and now, oh, I don't have it anymore, so it's a constant like humbling experience. Like art for me is so humbling, uh,
Totally. I mean, I think my worst bread is always the one where I'm like trying to control it too much, where I'm like, oh, I need to pick up the kids at 3 and this needs to be in the oven by then or whatever, when it's not ready, but I've forced it, like when I try to exert too much of my like idea of what it needs versus actually just doing what it needs, what it actually needs.
it's so cool. Like I've never seen bread that way. Thank you so much.
I mean, it's interesting because I wonder if other bread bakers, I mean, I guess everybody feels this way, but anybody who bakes probably has the same experience. But I just wonder, because I see things from a yoga perspective, so I just wonder how that has influenced it.
I'm just curious. I love to ask women if they have like soul rituals, like things maybe you do every day, like carving time for soul. Is there little things, or you don't have like, I'm more of a creative, like ritualist, like kind of every day is different, but I'm not sure about you.
I really love the ritual of preparing to bake and like cleaning my space and getting my mise en place, like preparing my ingredients, and like that part of it, like kind of before the baking begins, feels really ritualistic to me, and I really enjoy that part.
I love that. Just like an actor setting the stage.
Yeah. Or, when you set up your yoga practice, you clear your space, you roll out your mat, you light your candle, you do whatever you do, and then you do your practice.
Ah, I want to do yoga right now.
I know.
Where does like self-expression, like in building, I mean, the retreat, like I know you own Modo Yoga, but like the bread and yoga is kind of becoming a brand of its own. Do you think? I don't like the word brand, but do you see like your self-expression come through with that, as you're like educating others and
Bread and yoga is such a it's such a personal thing for me. The journey of it and the two things together feel really personal. And there is that moment of like, well, what if people think this is stupid, right? Like, because it feels so me that it's like maybe other people won't relate to it. But I think, if you're building a brand and you are the brand, then self-expression and authenticity, like that's really key. I mean, if you like, for me with my yoga studio, it was really nice it is really nice because I've had this opportunity to try things, but I am not the brand. Moto is the brand, right? So I can kind of hide behind that. And that was definitely something I really felt very nervous about with my first retreat, was this feeling of like, it's me. Like if I mess this up or it's not good or people don't enjoy it, then it's like, that is me. That has nothing to do with the company or the brand. It's me. Right. So I think it's more vulnerable to do things that way, but it's maybe even more fulfilling too.
Mm. Remember when you called me and I was like, Joe, I was like, this is so niche. This is so great.
It's so niche. Like,
I was like, I don't know if you can say that, but the nicher, the better.
yeah, I remember you saying that. And that was really, I think really good advice.
Well, it stands out because again, like I'm not a baker. So like I'm just so like, I had never seen it this way. So it's just like opening my world to like another kind of dimension of being a yogi and an artist. It's so cool. And also like as you speak, like just the act of like working the dough with your hands, like just how healing that would be on a like energetic level.
It's really, yeah, I really love it. I have like a physical, like a visceral feeling of needing to handle dough. It's a really weird thing,
Oh
but
my
I'm
God,
like,
I do. I
I
have
need
the
dough.
same. Oh my God, I have the same with painting. Like I pick up my brush and I swear I feel this huge release. Like I'm so like, it's almost like my conduits are so clear to it now that I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah,
That's the same you feel with dough, isn't it?
it is. Absolutely.
And another thing I always like, not that I've done that in a while, but like traveling, like after I come back from travel, I love to cook something like soup or like roots, vegetables, or like just the act of like cutting and all that. It's always so grounding for me.
Mhm.
So I bet you like, again, the same thing. And it's hard, right? Like what's the word for it? Like not bread, or how do you say it?
For what do you mean? Like
Like
kneading it or?
working the dough, like how
Yeah.
is there an actual word for that? Like working.
Yeah, working the dough is perfect. There are different ways to work the dough. When you like with bread, you need to build gluten structure, right? You need to build strength in that gluten structure so it will rise. And you do that by working it. So yeah, you can knead it, you can fold it, you can stretch it, you can coil it. There's all sorts of different techniques.
So cool. I love it. I love it. And so I guess, well, my next question was that, is there a tool you suggest to ground yourself in your body? I think we've just,
Yeah.
answered our own question. Joe, the last questions are just kind of quick answer. I feel you've already shared so much with us, but are you ready?
I'm ready.
Do you have a favorite mantra?
Yeah, good for you, not for me.
I know
and
it's
and
supposed to be quick
conversely,
answer. Where does that come from?
I first read it in Amy Poehler. Do you know Amy Poehler, the comedian writer?
Yes.
Yeah, she's got this book called Yes Please, and she talks about this idea of good for you, not for me, and it's such an effective tool for, like, if you feel yourself like getting judgmental about somebody or something, um or wanting to tell somebody how to do something your way or whatever, it's like a really nice step back. You can be like, no, that's good for you. It's not for me. And it's really like simple and it cuts you out of the equation. And conversely, I really like it for like good for me, not for you. So if I'm worried about, what people think of me or how people are judging me, I can, maybe hope that they're giving me that same grace of just being like, well, that's her thing and it's not my thing. And that's fine.
Do you have a favorite flower?
Forget me nots.
Oh, I love those too. Favorite book that you've read about yoga or bread?
Who about yoga or bread? Yoga is probably oh gosh, there's so many. I'm gonna say Be Peace by Thich Nhat Hanh.
Mm.
And bread. Oh, there's this great book, and if anybody's interested in bread, it's called Bread Baking for Beginners by Bonnie O'Hara, and it's just like a really simple, basic book, but I just really love it. And yeah, she's a lovely person. She's a mom, and she wrote this wonderful book, and it's just so reassuring, and it's my favorite for sure.
Kind of a bread making 101, I guess.
Yes, and it takes you like from like the simplest like yeasted loaf up to like a more like advanced technique of sourdough. You kind of start at the beginning and go the whole way through. It's really cool.
And are you a podcast listener? Do you listen?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yes. Tell us your favorite podcast then.
Yoga is probably Awaken the World, Michael Stone's podcast. Our teacher, may he rest in peace. And food, there is a podcast that I really enjoy called the Sourdough Podcast. But food in general, I would probably say Cherry Bomb. It's this wonderful, it's the only women-centered food podcast in the world or something. That's their tagline. Yeah, it's great.
Incredible. We'll have to check those out. And I don't know if I know this answer or not, but what is your favorite treat?
Well, bread to me is not a treat, it's a necessity.
Right.
So I would say my favorite treat is milk chocolate.
Good one. And I just have a last question. It's a bit of a loaded one, but I have faith in you, Joanna. Like, what do you wish? I feel this podcast, like I host a lot of just women and just knowing their stories and their passions and how they like step in soul, how they ground themselves. And for me, all that kind of englobes like knowing your magic, and so my last question is, what do you wish more women knew about their magic?
I think a lot of women's magic is held up in the amount of time and energy that we as women spend in worrying about our weight and how we look. And I really wish that women in general, and myself, is something I work on, is just, accepting who you are and nourishing yourself the way you need to, whether that's physically or emotionally, and moving in ways that make you feel strong and confident and joyful, and just kind of embracing our bodies instead of letting it be something that, like, instead of obsessing over what we're eating or when we're eating or what we're not eating, and standing in front of the mirror and examining every inch or comparing yourself to every other woman in the room. Like, think about how much time and energy that takes. It can occupy so much of that mental and emotional space. And, if you can free yourself of that, how much more creative and productive and open and loving could you be,
I love that message so much, Joanna, because we talked about food for the whole podcast. I think it's a great, and I want to share something with you that you probably will not remember, but I remember. Our friend Brittany Firth, she was doing, do you remember she was doing her nutrition, I forget now, or holistic nutrition certificate. And she was going around, she had a questionnaire and she was asking us these questions. I'm not sure. She was like doing a study or something. And And the question was, is there, and she was asking you this, and I was a witness of this. And now you're like freaking out, like, oh gosh, what did I do?
Oh God.
But she asked you, she asked you, is there a part of your body you would change or something? And you said, no. And I was sitting, I was like, what? But you were like, no. And Brittany too, she was like, what do you mean? Like, she's like, no, I'm happy the way I am. I like, and I was like, oh my God, this is so badass.
Well, I was probably having a good day because I certainly don't feel that 100% of the time. But I mean, in general, and don't you feel that with yoga though? Like the things that your body has done for you and how good your body feels. And like, I don't know, like I really love my body. Whoa, I said it. I do. I love my body.
And I love my body too. And I love that you brought it, and maybe we could have you again and talk about body self-love. But thank you so much for like educating me anyways about bread making and all its messages and everything it can teach us along, and merging it with yoga is just brilliant. Well done, Joanna. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Next up, maybe you're writing your own book.
Oh, you never know.
My friend, where can we find you and how can we support you? Like if someone listening and they want to go to your retreat in November, like where do we find all that good information?
Yeah, so I do have a website. It's breadandyogaretreats.com. I'm also on Instagram as Joe Bakes Stuff. Joe is J-O. And you can also find me through my studio, which is Modo Yoga Halifax.
Incredible. So we'll make sure to link all that in the show notes. Thanks so much, Joe.
Thank you so much. And I'd also like to just add to that for your listeners, if anybody's interested and they want to join us in November, just when they're filling out the form on the website, just to put in the notes that they heard this. And I would love to offer them a $50 discount.
That's incredible, everyone. So they just need to mention that they've heard you on She Quest podcast, yes?
Exactly. Yep.
Great. Thanks, Joe. You're amazing.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
This podcast was produced by Tosh Taylor of the Podcast Hub Productions. Find her online at podcasthub.ca.